equation of a straight line, we know 2 points pass through. So we just had that little discussion. Remember, when we're finding equations, what format is the easiest way to put them in? Y equals mx plus c. So we need to find two pieces of information. The gradient and that y-intercept. So the gradient is the easiest thing to find first. Alexis, what was that formula? Okay, so Lara, can you give me some values, please?
For x, y2, it would be 4 minus 12 over 10 minus 0.
Okay, so 4 subtract 12 is? 10 subtract 0? 10. Do we leave it like that?
No.
Why not?
Simplify.
Nice. What does it become?
4, negative 4/5.
Okay, so we're going to have what?
Negative 2 over 4.
Okay, so y equals negative 4 over 5x plus c is our starting point. We've got our gradient. We now need to find the y-intercept. Now, Emily spotted that we've got this coordinate here, 0, 12. If you see them, that's what you want to look out for. Okay, because we know that when we substitute these values in for x and y, it's going to get rid of this, which is going to make it a lot easier and give you a y-intercept straight away. However, if you had not spotted that and you think, oh, I like this one a lot better, I'm going to use that coordinate. Remember, you can substitute those values in. You're substituting in the 4 in place of the y, so you're going to write 4 equals. Your negative 4 over 5 stays there. You're then substituting in the 10 for your value of x. And you're going to work out these values. So you've got 4 equals negative 40 over 5 plus c. What's negative 40 over 5? What's 40 divided by 5?
9. Oh, no.
8. And then c on its own, you're adding 8 to both sides, so you get c is 12. So either way, we've got y equals negative 4 over 5x plus 12. Where's the error? Okay? You happy with that if you didn't get it before? Where's the error? Alright, so now let's find an equation of a straight line that's parallel to it. We had this discussion already. What's special about parallel lines, today?
They have the same gradient.
They're the same gradient. So, without doing any work, I can start off my equation of this line by writing what, Aria?
Y equals
Plus c. Okay? Emily, what do I do now to find my c for this line?
you do you substitute in the numbers.
Yes, you substitute in the numbers. Which numbers do we substitute and where?
11 is
Okay.
9 is 11.
Ah. Okay, we have our calculators, we get stressed by this, but we can do it in our heads as awesome. Negative 4 multiplied by 5 is negative 20 over 5 is
4.
it's c on its own, we have to add 4 to both sides, so we get 7. Which means that our equation is now y equals negative 4 over 5x minus 7. Okay? So at this stage, some of you are probably thinking, oh, seriously? That was it? I could have done that? I'm going to do that next time. Okay? Remember I said I can't wait, you have to look at the videos later. So we're finding an equation of L. So, two pieces of information, what we're finding. Stop talking now, two pieces of information, what we're finding, Jodie? Gradient and y-intercept. So, y-intercept is the easiest thing to find, what's that?
-1.
-1. Since we began. What's our gradient, or how do we find it? Hannah?
Right over 1.
Rise over run. So choose any 2 points. I'm going to choose this one and this one. So my rise is 2, my run is 4. So that's going to be 2 over 4. Does that simplify? Is it positive or negative? Just checking. It's positive, so I've got 1/2 x minus 1. Okay? B, find the equation of a line that's perpendicular to it. Okay. So, and passes through the 0.54. So, but the thing I focus on first of all is the perpendicular part. What do we know about perpendicular lines? Emma? They do not have the same gradient, but are their gradients connected in any way, shape, or form? And it has to switch it. Was that negative reciprocal? That means that you're going to change the values to upside down and change the sign of it. So what was my gradient of this one up above? So M1 is 1/2. So my second gradient therefore is going to be what? -2. Okay, you can vote one if you wish. Well, this was my line up above. Yes, so this line here is going to have a gradient of -2.
Oh, okay.
Yes? So, I know my equation is going to start y equals -2x plus c. How do I find my c, Layla? Just waking you up. Oh, okay, good. Why is it -2? Emily? It's a negative reciprocal. So the gradient up above was 1/2. Yeah? So if we find the reciprocal of this and change the sign of it, it becomes -2.
Well, -2 over 1.
Why are we trying to find the negative reciprocal though? Because it's perpendicular.
So whenever something's perpendicular, find the negative reciprocal?
Yeah.
Exactly the line.
Is that all coming into place? Yes? Alright. Avery, what do I do now?
Now we factor in the little numbers.
Okay. Factor in the
Not
numbers.
factor in, but like, you know what? You put them in there.
Put them in. The fancy word is substitute. Okay, yeah. I know that I just realized that. Where are they going?
Y and 5 is X.
So we've got 4 equals -2. Got the 5 plus c. So we've got 4 equals -10 plus c. Lara, how do we get c on its own?
We remove the 10, the -10.
Negative
So we would
Really?
add it to the other side,
Okay, yes.
so then it would be 14.
Okay, so we add 10 to both sides. Yep, so we get c is 14. So, anyway. So our equation for this one is what?
Y equals -2.
Awesome.
Yes, Nancy?
Alright, A, C, B is a straight line. A is point plus, B is point plus, C is point plus. No. Oh, question? Alright.
Well, it's a Nancy question, though.
What?
What does that number say under? It says -7 to C.
4. It's a 4.
We have C with a line for it.
Well, I am being a bit rude, probably. But, darling, where is it gone? If it was a 4 here, it's probably also a 4 here. Just sometimes try and answer the question yourself. Alright, so we've been told 2 coordinates A and B. We've been told C is the midpoint of it, so we don't know what those coordinates are. We know that line DC is perpendicular to it. So all of this information here is actually summarized on the diagram. Okay? We know the lines are perpendicular because it has a 90-degree angle shown there. Alright, work out the equation of DCE. So we're trying to find the equation of this line. So, to find the equation of any line, which 2 pieces of information do we need to find? Gradient and y. She said that without moving her lips. Gradient of y-intercept. But since we've got them, we can put them in y equals mx plus c form. Okay, we don't know our y-intercept. That's not easy to find. But our gradient is probably the easiest one to work with to start with. Simply because we know that our gradient is perpendicular to this gradient. Okay? So, how can we find, what's the matter?
Breathing.
How do we find the gradient of line AB? You've got two ways of doing it, either from the diagram or from the coordinates.
The coordinates.
The coordinates, let's work with the coordinates then. So gradient of AB, 0 subtract 8 over 4 subtract 0. So 0 subtract 8 is negative 8, 4 subtract 0 is 4, negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. Whenever you're doing stuff like this, I would suggest you always have a look at that answer, negative 2. Does that look right? Well, it looks good because we know it's negative sloping and we've got a negative value. Okay, so just double check those things before you carry on going. Alright, so if that's gradient of AB, what's the gradient of the line DCE going to be?
1 over 2.
1 over 2? Why?
Because it's the opposite of minus.
Yeah, what's the fancy kind of word?
Reciprocal.
Yeah, the negative reciprocal also. So we know our equation is going to be start off y equals 1/2 x plus c. How do we find c, Amelia? Plug in the numbers of the coordinate. Which coordinate are we going to plug in though?
Whichever one you want.
Do we have any coordinates on the line DC? No, not yet. Okay, so we don't know any coordinates on that line. So what do we have to do first? Find one at least. Which one might be a good one to find? And how do we do it?
The midpoint.
The midpoint. Okay. Lara read the question. We know that it goes through the midpoint. So can we find midpoints?
Maybe.
Potentially. We should be able to.
3 halves.
So let's. Oh my gosh. So we're trying to find the midpoint of AB. So Emily's just told me the formula. What is it?
X2 plus x1 over 2. Then all comma. And y2 plus y1 over 2.
Okay, so remembering that this is a coordinate, a point. Okay, so you've got an x part to it and a y part to it. So remember you're finding the average or the mean of your x values and the average or mean of your y values. So you're adding them up and dividing by 2. So going back to our coordinates, adding our two x values, 0 plus 4 over 2. And 0 or 8 plus 0 over 2. You all happy with that? What's 0 plus 4 over 2? And then 8 plus 0 over 2. So our midpoint has the coordinates 2, 4. That's one of the coordinates that our line goes through, so what do we do with that now? Put that into the y equals 1/2 x plus 3.
So that's y.
So we're going to say, oops, yes, x is 2 and y is 4. That's correct. So we say 4 equals 1/2 of 2 plus c. What's 1/2 of 2? 1. So we've got 4 equals, you say the math, but
Oh,
you
why
can
was
make
that?
it sorry,
Why is it on the sample?
I don't know. It's worrying me too. So c on its own would be
3.
So our equation is y equals 1/2 x plus 3.
I have a question.
Yeah?
How many marks is this question?
Can't remember to be honest.
Probably
Around a few. I really don't know.
Like
Maybe
3 or 4.
maybe 3.
I was like 5. That's curious.
Alright, so let's keep going. Allah has been on hand that equation to find the gradient. What do we have to do first?
Why is it Make y the subject. I'm saying y the subject.
Alright, good. Lots of people are shouting out y equals mx plus c and make y the subject and transpose it, all of which is what we need to do. Because just by looking at that one, we don't know for sure what our gradient and y-intercept would be. Again, you don't need to know the y-intercept. You don't have to worry so much about that one. It's just the gradient you're interested in. So how you rearrange this or transpose it, I don't mind. I think I've said to you several times, I prefer my new subject to be positive. So if I was doing this, I would probably write 3x minus 15 equals 2y to start with. Because that, I've added 2y to both sides, and I've now got a positive value for y, rather than a negative one. If I then try and find y on its own, I'm going to divide both of those numbers separately by 2, rather than dividing the whole thing by 2. And I just need to focus on the value in front of the x. So my gradient would be 3 over 2. Tanya?
How do you know when to divide separately and dividing?
So for straight line graphs, I would always divide separately. Just because if you saw this, you may look at the gradient and say that's 3 over 2, but you would probably then say your y-intercept was negative 15, and you would forget that that was divided by 2 as well. So it just makes it a lot clearer to see that they are both divided by 2.
What if you take the minus x, but like minus 2 plus 15 over minus 2?
Yes.
And then you just figure out each one. So like.
So do you mean this? Is that what you have? Okay. So if you had done that, that's obviously also correct. But you have the tricky thing here is that you've now got to recognise that negative 3x over negative 2 is actually positive 3 over 2x. Because this subtracts here and this negative here cancel each other out. And that's what some people make a mistake with, especially under tense conditions. The pressure and the nerves kick in and you make mistakes. So that's why I personally would have recommended this option. So you're making your 2y positive first, or making sure you have a positive value for the y. And so you're not having to divide by negative numbers. Because if you're divided by negative numbers, sometimes people make mistakes. Okay? And find the coordinates at the point where L crosses the y-axis. So these are the coordinates of it. How do we know the coordinates of the y-axis? Where it crosses the y-axis? What's another way of, what's another thing they're asked, what's another way of saying what they're asking? The y-intercept, yes. So what is that?
The x is 0.
The x is 0, thank you. What?
Negative 7.5?
Negative 7.5, yes. Or negative 15 over 2. Yes? It's this bit. Okay, either or one is fine. Find an equation of a line that's perpendicular to that and crosses at negative 3, 0.
Oh, wait, sorry, why was it 0?
Because y-intercepts are always where x is 0. Because that's, remember the equation of the y-axis is also the line x equals 0. So along this line here, the value of x is always going to be 0.
Okay,
So for any y-intercepts, the x coordinate will always be 0. And find the equation line that's perpendicular to L. So the fact it's perpendicular means that we need to recognise our gradient. So whichever gradient you had for part A, you'll now need to do what to it?
okay.
Negative reciprocal. So ours will become what?
2 minus 2 over 3.
Negative 2 over 3. So we've got y equals negative 2 over 3x plus something. How do we find the something? I'm just going to do it all last name. Jodie, what am I going to do to find the y-intercept?
Substitute the coordinates of y.
Good. Which one's which?
Y is 0.
Then can you? Okay, so 0 equals equals negative 2 over 3 multiplied by negative 3. So negative 2 multiplied by negative 3 is
Probably
6. Put 6 over 3. 2. And so that means that C is negative 2. You're happy with that?
6. Yeah.
And so my equation is y equals negative 2 over 3x subtract 2. Number 11. Oh, shush now.